Let's begin the Naval News segment now. We're going to begin with the Fleet Tracker. This is a great tool that the U.S. Naval Institute publishes weekly now to give us a rough idea of approximately where our fleets are at this week. So we have the George H.W. Bush operating in the Vay Capes, doing some training, probably getting ready to go underway on deployment. That's typical of that pattern. Iwo Jima Amphibious Ready Group is coming back home from a very long deployment off the coast of India, supporting the withdrawal from Afghanistan with the Ronald Reagan Character Strike Group going back home to Japan. Carl Vinson is operating in the Philippine Sea this week, it looks like. And the Essex, with all those Marines, looks like they're in Bahrain today. So let's talk about each one of these groups. Total ships at sea underway right now is 95. Approximately 1/3 of our 296 ship Navy is deployed underway right now. Not deployed, but at sea right now. We're going to begin in the Indian Ocean where they're running some fire drills here. So this first class petty officer here is, I think he's first class. Anyway, this petty officer here is directing him how to fight a fire. He's like, you want to do it this way, wide angle, foam or whatever. It's like, that's not a foam thing. That's a, anyway, let's just read the thing. It's telling us right here. He says, so-and-so receives instruction from aviation bosun's mate, first class, Vincent Manglines, on how to fight a fire during general quarters drill on board the USS Ronald Reagan. The Japan-based Ronald Reagan Carrier Strike Group is in the Indian Ocean, heading back to the 7th Fleet. They're based out of Japan. And they have the Carrier Air Wing 5 on board with them. We've talked about these guys every week for the past 3 months, so we won't spend a lot of time on that. But we will look at this picture. Look at this. Looks like they're parking. Man, that's really tight, isn't it? They've got a plane over here. There's like a AWACS behind them, and they're parking this thing or moving it around. Very cool. I always find flight ops to be very interesting because I was never involved in them, so it's really new to me. These are all the detachments. Here we go. We got the American cruiser with a Pakistani Navy frigate and a German frigate, the Bahrain, or the Baron, not Bahrain. Baron F217 guided missile cruiser with USS Shiloh in formation during a PASSEX. They do this for photography and promotional reasons. It's really cool. Okay, let's go to the Persian Gulf. Here we go. This is the dry cargo ammunition ship Wali Shira. Conducts replenishment at sea, or RAS, with amphibious ship USS Essex on the left, LHD-2. So here you can see all the VTOL aircraft, helicopters, and they got a lot of the Marines on board there. A very interesting ship to be on, I imagine, when you have such a large mix of Marine Corps and Navy sailors. I imagine there's a lot of personality conflict on board ships like this. Here we go. Let's go to the Red Sea where we have Lance Corporal. So this is a Marine Corps assigned to Marine Medium Tilt Rotor Squadron, or VMM 162 Reinforced, secures an Osprey to the flight deck of the Wasp class amphibious ship USS Iowa, LHD-7. Yeah. Look at that. He looks, I don't know. He looks very serious, doesn't he? Which he should be taking that job serious. So I'm glad to see that he's not just smoking and joking there. Yeah. All right. In the Philippine Sea, we have sailors doing field day. See, this is what we do underway. This is what I like to see. It's not all about launching the aircraft. See, they're cleaning with the brooms and brushes and all this stuff. Yeah. You do this a lot. This is the real Navy right here, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, cleaning the jet blast deflector. Sailors clean the jet blast deflector on the flight deck of the Nimitz-class aircraft carrier Carl Vinson from a September 12th photo. Nice. That was like last week or something. The Carl Vinson Carrier Strike Group is in the Philippine Sea with CSG deployed on August 2nd. Operating with the U.S. 7th Fleet. This is the first U.S. Navy deployment for the F-35C Lightning II JSF. Very cool. They also have the new Ospreys operating on board the carrier, which I believe it's the first for that as well. Let's see. According to a Pacific Fleet release, while in the South China Sea, the strike group is conducting maritime security operations, which include flight deck operations with fixed and rotary wing aircraft, maritime strike exercises, and coordinated tactical training between surface and air units. The Arleigh Burke guided missile destroyer USS Chaffee DDG-90 and the Independence variant littoral combat ship USS Tulsa LCS-16 are escorts currently operating with the Carl Vinson Carrier Strike Group. Very cool. They're home ported out of San Diego. Who do we have here? Oh, this is one of those aviation bosun's mates doing something. Let's see. Let's give her some credit here. This is aviation bosun's mate. Let's get up so you can see her face. Second class Chardee Hamilton signals halt to an MH-60R assigned to the Blue Hawks Helicopter Maritime Strike Squadron, or HSM-78, in the hangar bay of the Carl Vinson. Very cool. So along with field daying, you're doing stuff like this too in the Navy. It's a really interesting job. I mean, if you have any curiosity about it, a 4-year enlistment isn't as long as it sounds. Give it a shot, and maybe you end up liking it. And if you don't, you can always, move on with your life and have that experience. But I mean, for the average person like I was, coming from a small town in Florida, to be able to join a service and literally go around the globe for years was something I would never have been able to do had I not joined the Navy. So there's a lot of opportunity. I know I sound like a recruiting pitch, but there's a lot of opportunity to have a good time in the service. It's not all field daying and drills and no sleep, although that is part of it. Anyway, Destroyer Squadron 1, this is with the Carl Vinson. Here we have a young sailor. Her name is Lieutenant J.G. G.G. Green. That's a tongue twister. Lieutenant J.G. G.G. Green. A Chicago native, coordinates flight operations from the helicopter control tower of the Arleigh Burke-class destroyer USS Chaffee, DDG 90. Very good. This is a logbook. It looks like they've got it blurred out, which is a good idea. You don't want to be reading the log entries there. I imagine they log what helicopters take off and stuff like that. Notice all the columns, and notice that they're hand drawn too. Now you're supposed to be using a ruler when you do that, but these look kind of wavy to me. I don't know. Maybe the paper's wrinkled. Anyway, so the squadron is, look at this. They got 5 of them, 5 of these DDGs sailing with the Carl Vinson. This is a lot of firepower here, folks. Look at this. All these destroyers, man. Ready for business. All right, in Guam. Guam, we still have the UK Royal Navy Carrier Strike Group led by HMS Queen Elizabeth, R08. Spent last week in Guam. Looks like it's at sea now. The UK, whoops. There you go. The UK Carrier Strike Group has included the Type 23 anti-submarine frigates, and I can personally vouch for the capability of this particular frigate right here. One, for a frigate, it's really big. Whenever I saw it and I stood next to it, I walked on board it, I thought it was a destroyer, at least, because it's so freaking big. But for whatever reason, they're calling it a frigate. And so HMS Richmond, I did not go on this particular one, but I was on this class in Fort Lauderdale a couple of years ago, invited by the crew, by the way. So shout out to them for inviting me. HMS Kent, the Defender, HMS Diamond. Oh man, just a bunch of support ships, including an American ship, USS Sullivan's. That's one of our Arleigh Burkes. And a Holland ship, the Everstein, is with them as well. And the HMS Artful, which I believe is a submarine. And the Wake Avengers U.S. Marine Corps Fighter Attack Squadron is embarked on the ship. So that's really cool that our Marines are operating a fighter attack squadron off the Queen Elizabeth. That's just great that we can do that. And that being a new ship, I imagine all the quarters are really nice too. Imagine having a good time. All right, in the Western Atlantic, look at this. I love this photo, by the way. These are the training airplanes that the aviation pilots train on before they are qualified to go on to their squadrons. So they're operating here in the VA Capes. That's the Virginia operating area off the coast of Norfolk and Virginia. And they're just doing traps, it looks like. Really cool. All right, let's see what this says in the description. Sailors refuel the T-45C Go-Shock aircraft assigned to Training Air Wing, or TW-1, the flight deck of the aircraft carrier USS George H.W. Bush from September 19th. Really cool photo. Very cool. So it says here the USS H.W. Bush is underway in the VA Cape operating area. The carrier recently completed one of the largest, most complex air carrier availabilities conducted at Norfolk Naval Shipyard. So it just came out of a, I don't know if it was particularly a dry docking period, but a maintenance period. It's back at sea now. There's a link here for the VA Capes. Let's see if I can show you a picture of what I mean whenever I say the VA Capes. Let's see if they have an actual... it's going to be DVids, so it's not going to be a map, unfortunately. Once it gets finished loading, we'll take a peek at it. Okay, this was talking about its dry dock availability. Wow, they did put this thing in the dry dock. Page not found, son of a gun. Let's go back. But there it is in the dry dock. Oh my gosh. I can't imagine. I would love to see this thing in dry dock out of the water, because then you can really appreciate how immense these aircraft carriers are. They're so big. It just boggles the mind. But they only have this one photo here, and I can't zoom in on it, sadly. Anyway, so what do you guys think about our operations around the globe? Let's get back up to the big map here. Right there it is. Yeah, this is what we're doing right now, man. Let's see. Range says the new rule: take a shot or drink every time I do a muted join. Okay. Well, you guys would be not sober very long, that's for sure. Kep says, as always, disappointed to see a historic name like the S6 downgraded to an LHD. Yeah, just think of it as a new mission. It's not really a downgrade. It's just a new mission, my friend. Jesse's Gaming says, recently I heard some China has to fight more pirates in the South China Sea. Yeah, well, someone's got to fight them, and I'm okay with China doing it too, you know. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. All right, so check this out. This is Russia's new unmanned underwater vehicle, one of them. They're building a bunch of different varieties of this. This is just one of the most recent ones, called the SARMA. So we're going to read this piece from H.I. Sutton and the staff of Naval News together, but H.I. Sutton was the primary source for this information. Russia develops a preliminary design for an AIP unit of SARMA unmanned underwater vehicle. So this is the first time that we're aware of that Russia is combining, you know, bottled hydrogen and bottled oxygen on board an unmanned underwater vehicle for long-term, greater than 10,000 kilometer, 3-month deployments autonomously, right? We know about the one that's got a nuclear reactor, and we're not including that in the AIP group because it's in the nuclear group, right? But now they've got this one where we have evidence that they're using oxygen, hydrogen, air-independent propulsion, or AIP, designed for SARMA, unmanned underwater vehicles, planned to be developed. The deputy head of Physical and Technical Research and Advanced Research Foundation, Viktor Levenko, told TASS. TASS is a Russian news outlet. And the construction of this began in July. I don't know if that's in this piece, but you can take that to the bank, update the Wikipedia page, and reference this video if you want to. This began in July of 2021. But let's see what they say. The air-independent propulsion unit began using hydrogen and oxygen as planned to be developed. It is a new technology direction that allows operating underwater for a long time without surfacing, says Levenko. The deputy head of physical and technical research of the Advanced Research Foundation, Viktor Levenko, added, the preliminary design has been developed. There are necessary conditions for developing of the AIP system. The hydrogen air-independent propulsion unit that could work for a long time underwater has not been developed by anyone. We hope to have a positive outcome. Well, as far as he knows, hasn't been developed by anyone, but we'll let him get away with that because he could be fishing for information. We're not going to give it to him. As Levenko says, the first vehicle will be equipped with accumulators. The promising propulsion unit will be designed for further versions of the SARMA submersible. The big number of associated contractors are working on the air-independent propulsion unit on order of the Advanced Research Foundation. Okay, so they're just giving you some back information here now. There's some comments from the staff here. So let's see what the staff who wrote the story says. Russia's FPI, which is the Advanced Research Foundation, recently revealed some details of a new uncrewed underwater vehicle, UUV, called SARMA. Although few details have emerged, and associated graphic indicates the craft is approximately a large displacement UUV. So it's in the category of LD UUV that the Americans use to classify all of our different ones, because we have big ones, we have medium ones, we have large ones. This falls into the large category. This makes it roughly the same size as the existing Harpsichord family, which is another family of unmanned underwater vehicles. So they didn't say anything about July, so I'm going to add that information to the story here. Construction on this, physically building it, began a few months ago, July 2021. What do you guys think of this thing? Isn't this cool? Let's take a look at this picture here. So we got a horizontal thruster on the bow. They got vertical thrusters on the stern, a shrouded screw. Not a lot of details. It's just an artist impression. Espionage says the Wake Adventures are actually the Wake Island Adventures. Yeah, I was shortening it. Yeah. I suppose that's, yeah, because that could mean something else. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I kind of run through these names really quick. Yeah, but this is cool that they're developing that.